Hello and welcome to What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do. This is part of a 10 at 10 series, quick 10-minute insights designed to help you live the life that you want to live. Let's start by just acknowledging that it's so common to have these moments in life where you just aren't sure. And that comes in lots of flavors. It could be you're overwhelmed by options and can't choose. It could be it's kissing cousin perfectionism. So you're trying to choose and you're trying to pick the perfect path, which keeps you frozen because is there really even a perfect? You could be discouraged or hurt because the last thing you tried to pursue didn't turn out the way that you hoped. And it's kind of hard to muster the energy to try again when that just didn't feel the way you wanted it to or didn't end the way you wanted it to. Maybe it's hard to acknowledge what you want when you've had your hopes and dreams minimized by someone. Maybe that someone's even yourself. If you'd like to share in the chat what flavor of feeling stuck you are, I invite you to do that. Totally not required, but if it feels good to get started and warm up that way, the chat is open. I'm Colleen Newvine. I'm your host. I'm a trained, experienced, certified coach. I have also personally experienced this feeling of being lost and uncertain what my next move is. One thing I had to work on was separating the shoulds from my wants to get clear on what felt like a want to versus a have to. And so I'm not just here as a coach, I'm here as someone who understands how difficult these points in life can be. What are some ways forward? Let's get to it. So, you may have heard this phrase before, the paradox of choice. So, whether you're walking into the cereal aisle or trying to pick a beverage at your local convenience store or buying a car, whatever it is, we think that we want infinite choice. It feels initially maybe like abundance. But what can really happen is our brain sort of shuts down because it's too difficult to process all of the different options. And so we can see this whole range of opportunities and choices and just shut down. So one thing that can help is to narrow your choices. So, for example, I hate my job and I'd like to get a new job. Well, where do you even begin? Maybe you start to constrain it with, am I willing to relocate or not? Am I willing to go back to school for a new degree or a new training? Am I looking to shift industries or am I just looking for a different job at a company like the one I'm already at? So you start to close in on a narrower slice instead of, as nice as it sounds to say the world is your oyster, maybe you just want to pick the one oyster. What else? So perfectionism is so common. I definitely get stuck in trying to make the absolute perfect plan. And then I get stuck in what they call in business school analysis paralysis. If you sometimes stay frozen in research and plan mode, what you might be doing is trying to make change feel safe by making a perfect plan. And so let's first acknowledge that there's no such thing, because until you get going on executing that plan, you can't really anticipate what the possible challenges or opportunities are going to be. You kind of have to get started. So instead, if you approach making your plan like with mad scientist energy, you can simply form a hypothesis and test it. Because if you're in that laboratory of experimentation, gathering data is always successful, even if how the experiment goes is I made a hypothesis and it turned out to be 100% wrong. You're still moving forward by gathering that information. So, how might that look? Let's say you're thinking, I might like to relocate. Well, if you'd like to test that hypothesis, maybe you go live in that other place for a month, see if you like it. Now you've gathered more information so that you don't get stuck in all or nothing thinking. You can also sort of bring a spirit of exploration, just going and following what's interesting to you to test, is this interesting enough to make that change? Or am I just sort of curious about it as a hobby or something? I think it's also important to acknowledge that if you're stuck trying to figure out what's next, it could be a function of what's come before. So, have you ever touched a hot stove? I have, exactly once. And that's your nervous system doing what it's supposed to do, right? So, your nervous system wants to protect you from getting hurt. If that last thing, if that job, that business, that relationship, whatever it was, hurt you, your nervous system might try to protect you from getting hurt the next time. And so it can obscure trying to find that next whatever it is. So we have to move through feeling that pain of whatever that was. Let's try a quick visualization together, just in our remaining minutes together. So I invite you to get comfortable, and if you like, close your eyes. Let's take a nice big deep breath in together and slowly exhale. One more nice big deep breath in and slowly exhale. Now, we often act like the only way to solve a problem is to think our way out of it. And unfortunately, when we think, we can just tie that knot even tighter. So instead, today, I invite you to drop all of your awareness, all of your focus down into your belly and ask your gut what it knows about what you should do next. Ask that wise gut instinct what it wants to tell you. And then bring all of that awareness, all of that focus up to your heart. Your heart is an important muscle, pumps blood from the top to the bottom of your body. It also holds a lot of intelligence. So ask that heart what it wants you to know. You may find that your gut or your heart have been waiting a really long time to tell you that they already have something important to say in this conversation. And as you're tuning in, then ask your brain if it has anything to say in response. Let's make this a conversation instead of a monologue with that big, powerful brain of yours. And when you feel ready, you may want to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, roll your shoulders, and open your eyes. We have more of these coming up. The next one will be dealing with holiday stress, in case you're someone that finds all of it, the shopping, the family, the travel difficult. And then in December, we'll talk about how to use all of the swirl of holiday activities to build your social circle, because the isolation and loneliness crisis is a real thing. If you're on my email list, you'll get the Zoom link for all of those. And of course, you can work with me if you'd like to go deeper, figuring out what you might like to do next. Thanks so much for joining. I'll stay on for a few more minutes if anybody has any questions, but if you need to get back to it, you're welcome to go as well. I'll leave you with the parting thought that if you don't know what else to do, maybe pick one thing today that brings you joy or brings you pleasure. Something you can do that's just today, that cup of coffee you love, that walk in the sunshine. Pick something that's easy and doable and see how that feels.